So as a kid growing up in the land of 10,000 lakes, I was always thrilled on summer mornings when my dad would take me and my 3 younger brothers fishing. We'd pack up our tackle boxes and poles, and we'd walk down to a friend's dock on Medicine Lake and settle in for a few hours of fun. Now, I didn't particularly love fishing, but I loved spending time with my dad. We'd set our bait, cast off, and share lots of laughter. And sometimes we'd even catch a sunfish or two. Now, one morning when I was around 8 or 9, things started off as usual. I was gaining confidence in my fishing skills, and with that came a more adventurous desire to cast off as far as I could send the line. Now, I stood at the edge of the dock, right next to the tires that lined the side, and I opened the reel bail, and I swung the rod over my shoulder, and I let it fly with a great eagerness as I directed all of my energy into this effort. And you can probably guess what happened next. I propelled myself along with the line. Over the tire I went and straight into the lake with a huge splash. Terrified, I cried for my dad. Flailing in the water, I was certain I was drowning. Now, my dad, seeming way too calm for the situation and preoccupied with my toddler brother, was saying something to me from the other side of the dock, but I couldn't quite hear it over the splashing of the water and my own cries. He calmly walked closer to me. "Philip," he said, "stand up." Now, I remember thinking that I hadn't quite heard him right in my frightened state. "Stand up, stand up, stand up." And then I understood. I straightened my legs. I felt the sandy bottom of the lake, uneven but firm, and I stood up. And lo and behold, the water was at my knees. Now, this moment taught me something. You see, sometimes we think we're drowning, when really we just need to find our footing. But in the chaos of life, it's not always clear how to stand firm, to locate our center, to be our own anchor. We know this feeling of uncertain ground, of losing our footing. These moments of chaos and emotional overwhelm can invade our lives many times in a single day. And when the world feels especially heavy, as it does right now, it can be hard to carry everything life requires of us. The demands of career or school, of raising children, of aging in ourselves or family members, understanding and treating illness or mental health condition, grieving the loss of someone we love, managing finances, nurturing and navigating relationships, all of this and more. We may feel like we are drowning as we attempt to stay grounded, to keep ourselves centered amidst the chaos. And this year, in addition to all the various loads, we are also inundated with what feels like a nonstop deluge of violence, injustice, anti-Semitism, and polarization. In a world that feels fractured, many of us feel fractured too. And so when chaos swirls all around us, how do we stand firm? Because there's always something to do, to plan, to worry about, one upsetting event after another in a news cycle that we cannot ignore. Now, it's tempting to turn away, to numb ourselves, to find ways to avoid thinking about reality, to focus on something else. For some of us, that avoidance might be binge watching a show, getting lost in endless scrolling. For others, it could be too much alcohol or another substance or an unhealthy habit or really anything that helps us to escape reality. We chase an effortless sense of calm that somehow always feels out of reach. But Yom Kippur isn't about chasing after something or finding an escape. Today is our day our Torah calls Inui Nefesh, which literally means afflicting our souls. We fast, we abstain, we strip life down to its essentials, and yet lest we despair, the goal is not punishment. The goal is not to make us feel ashamed about the fact that we don't have all the answers. Instead, the purpose of this day is to guide us towards teshuvah, toward a mindful centering that grounds us, connects us, and returns us to our own internal steadiness. This year, let's move beyond our understanding of teshuvah as we may have defined it in the past, one that we may have learned in religious school as children or when we were first introduced to the themes of Yom Kippur. In that definition, teshuvah is a transactional model of apology and forgiveness. But I want us to think about it differently, to experience the teshuvah of return, the teshuvah that anchors, grounds, and centers us, and becomes our guide as we wade through the unsteady moments in our lives and in the world. But teshuvah doesn't erase the chaos. It doesn't silence the headlines. It doesn't solve every problem, and it certainly doesn't complete the tasks that continue to demand our attention day after day. On its own, teshuvah cannot end war, resolve conflict, or free hostages. But what it can do is it can teach us how to stand in the midst of it all without losing ourselves, how to live in this heavy moment and still create a sense of calm and purpose. Because teshuvah is how we root and return to our truest selves so that we can each hold one another up. Teshuvah is how we stand without sinking, how we become our own source of calm in a perpetual storm. So how do we do this? How do we center and ground ourselves when everything around us is so destabilizing? I believe teshuvah begins as anchoring with small, steady practices, not dramatic or world-changing acts, but human-sized habits that we can start to cultivate today. And we do this by building what I want to call our teshuvah toolkit. And over the last 10 days, I've thought a lot about what this toolkit should include. Pathways to connect with the self, with God or something sacred, and of course, with others. So how do we connect with the self? It might be through prayer or mindfulness or meditation. Perhaps we ground ourselves in a single line of gratitude before bed or in the moments just after waking. It might be the Shema, the morning blessings, or a mantra that we create, intentional breath, or reflection on the moments from the day. As we lie awake, our minds are circling with the world's events or our own struggles. But teshuvah invites us to calm the mind, quiet the soul, and allow rest to return. Think of when your thoughts are racing, and then you pause and take a deep breath and whisper a word or a phrase that helps you come back to yourself. For me, it's ayeka and hineni, asking again and again, am I showing up the way I want to be? And then answering, here I am. That is teshuvah. How do we connect with God or something sacred? It could be in nature, simply noticing the changing leaves, feeling the crunch underfoot on a crisp morning, pausing to inhale the cool fall air. These moments root us in the present. It could be in another form of awe as well, which may be the way we feel when we play or listen to meaningful music or getting lost in creativity. These are small yet profoundly grounding practices of teshuvah. And how do we connect with others? In community. Whether in a class, in the pottery studio, or in a meaningful conversation, these moments of connection steady us. Finding our own sense of calm can provide a foundation for someone else to feel supported in that journey as well. And we know this to be true from one of our most enduring practices, chavruta, a traditional way of creating connection between two people through reciprocal partnership. We might have a chavruta to study with, or to work out with, or to learn something new with. That too is teshuvah. And at TBE, every gathering is a chance to weave teshuvah into our lives, building our toolkit that steadies us and tethers us to one another. And our ancestors knew this truth well. During the time of the temple in Jerusalem, the high priest entered the Holy of Holies only once per year on Yom Kippur. It was the most sacred and dangerous of tasks, and the high priest, and only the high priest, could perform it. And our texts describe this effort and this practice in great detail, the way he was to act, speak, and dress, each step ensuring he could bring atonement for the people and create a deeper and more meaningful connection to God. Now, we learn that the high priest would enter wearing a rope around his waist, so that if something inside, he could be pulled back out, since others could not enter that space. So even in the holiest place on earth, even at the holiest moment of the year, he could not go alone. He had to be tethered, connected to his community. If even the high priest needed this form of physical connection, how much more so do we need one another? The high priest reminds us that no matter how deep the waters may seem, we are not meant to stand in them by ourselves. We are held, we are bound to one another, and sometimes that connection may come in the form of a prayer or a friend or an entire community. And it is that tethering that allows us to face what feels overwhelming when we feel like we're drowning. But why does all this matter? Why do we need to engage in this particular understanding of teshuvah? Because we know chaos will come again tomorrow. Because Yom Kippur asks us not just to confess, but to reset our footing. That's part of the reason why we're here on Yom Kippur year after year. This is not a singular moment. This is what our tradition in all its wisdom recognized thousands of years ago and has given us as a foundation to carry us forward from this day, this Yom Kippur, to next Rosh Hashanah a year from now. In these holy days, let us decide where we want to put our feet, where we want to anchor ourselves, how we will show up at TBE and in our lives, how we will bring a sense of calm to ourselves and to our larger community. Now, we sometimes find answers to these questions in the most unexpected places. For me, most recently, it was while watching an episode of The Bear. In one scene, the character Richie tells a story about a Japanese Zen garden. At first, he says, it seems like a bunch of scattered rocks that are tumbling around in a garden of sand, symbols of distance and isolation with no anchor. But Richie reinterprets this. He shares that he used to see himself as one of those lonely rocks, cut off from others and untethered in chaos. But now, after much personal growth, he sees himself as the sand, a calming force that connects the rocks in the garden, giving them a place to land. It is the sand that holds everything together and provides a steady foundation. And our Torah teaches the same. God promises Abraham, I will bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. Stars above sand beneath, abundance and foundation, our sages knew what Richie discovered. True teshuvah begins within. First, we cultivate calm and grounding in ourselves, and then we can extend it outward, offering steadiness to others, and ultimately bringing it out into the world. At the lake that morning, when I thought I was drowning, all I had to do was stand up. This year, whether we are in 2 feet of water or water over our head, may we each find the ground beneath us, becoming the sand to anchor others and ourselves, and finding the teshuvah that steadies us. Gemar Chatima Tova.
When I'm lost deeper than I've known, when the world is out of my control, breathe, close my eyes again, and I will wait for you.
Everywhere I go, you'll be the one I call home. I know that everywhere I go, you'll be there for me when I need you most. You'll be there for me everywhere I go.
Come salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi. Everywhere I go, you'll be the one I call home. I know that everywhere I go, you'll be there for me when I need you most. Everywhere I go, you'll be the one I call home. I know that everywhere I go, you'll be there for me when I need you most. You'll be there for me and you'll pull me close. You'll be there for me and you'll see me grow. You'll be there for me everywhere I go.